Good evening. It is 6 o'clock. I'm calling to order the Fountain City Council meeting for November 28th, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Thompson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Estes,
Here.
Councilmember Hinton,
Here.
Councilmember Corey,
Here.
Councilmember Rick,
Here.
Councilmember Applegate,
Here.
Councilmember Duncan. I have 7 council members present.
Thank you very much. That takes us on to presentations. We have 2 presentations tonight. The first one from Kingdom Builders Family Life Center, and we have Brianna Jeter here tonight. Brianna, would you please come down? And let's see. And come down to the podium, please. Right here at the podium, yep.
Make sure to turn that on.
All right, great. Thank you. If you could just introduce yourself for the record.
Of course. My name is Brianna Jeter, and I'm the program director with Kingdom Builders Family Life Center. Here we go. Do I use the clicker?
Should she click or will you click? She's got, there's a clicker up there if you want me to, I can.
Well, my name is Brianna Jeter, and I'm the program director, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Kingdom Builders and who we are and who we serve. So our staffing consists of our founder and CEO, Lisa Jenkins. She founded the organization in 2013 in August and officially became a 510c3 in August of 2014. She was our first staff person that we had in 2018. Now, currently, we have a full-time victim services director, which is me. Our victim services coordinator. We have 3 full-time youth advocates, 1 full-time and 1 part-time program support assistant. We have a housing case manager, a youth services manager, office manager, and our human resource manager. And then we have a community outreach manager and 2 part-time facility assistants. A picture on the bottom is the team in itself. So who we are. Our mission is we're committed to changing the narrative of underserved individuals, families, and youth who have been impacted by domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. We do this through advocacy, education, case management, and mentorship. The vision that Kingdom Builders envisions is a community without domestic and interpersonal violence, a community that has vibrant individuals and families who are resilient and have a sense of belonging, acceptance, and connectedness to themselves, family, and the community and society. Since we have received our first funding in 2018, as of 2019, we serve 434 individuals in our city of Colorado Springs. So Kingdom Builders, when you think of our program, is broken into 2 different programs. We have Project Right Direction, which is our youth focus, and My Brothers and Sisters Keeper. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Project Right Direction first. So Project Right Direction is our youth program that we have. We meet with kiddos on Friday nights through our Thrive Tribe, and we really just talk about some of those topics that's going on in their life right now, more pop culture type things for that. But we also have our leadership program that we been working diligently with getting in different school districts and schools, where we go into the schools and we're teaching the kiddos how to healthily advocate for themselves. What does domestic violence look like? What does sexual assault look like? What is consent? What is boundaries? How do I respect others' boundaries? And things like that. So we're giving them those leadership skills so that they can become leaders in their communities and in their homes. On Friday nights, we do offer healthy meals, and we do monthly field trips with all of our kiddos. So whether we're working with our kids in our community-based program or the schools, we offer them a trip once a month. So we'll go anywhere. We've gone places like Sky Zone. We've gone places like Summit. We've rented out a movie theater. So it's anything. We kind of do a survey with the kids and kind of see what they want to do. What's something fun that they want to do that month, and we do that as well with them. We've had success with getting in Fox Meadow Elementary School last year. We were in there through their advisory period. This year they had a transition in staff, so we're not in there this year, but we're in several conversations with different school districts and also schools. We just had a conversation with it was elementary school in District 11 that we met with, and it looks like we'll be going to transition into their school in January. So for the ages that we serve in Project Right Direction is we start as young as 7 and we go all the way up to 17. So as I mentioned, we are in elementary schools and high schools as well. We've worked with kiddos. It's our empowerment program. We have as well for our young adults between the ages of 18 to 24 years old and helping them achieve academic and employment success. So we talk about resume building, we talk about mock interviews, we talk about, hey, what does your future look like? What is a goal that you have for yourself in the future? We also help those who want to prepare and get ready for college and things like that as well. Every individual that comes into our program, we ask them, what does success look like to you? And to a youth, that may look a lot different than a parent, right? But it's the same question. What does that look like? And it is our job as the staff at Kingdom Builders to help them achieve that goal. So whether that may be, hey, I want to play football this season. We have financially assisted the parents and the families with paying the dues so the kids can get into football. Success could be, oh, I want to get my GED. We've paid for those courses for other individuals to be able to do that as well. So we really allow our guests to be the leaders in their own success and letting us know what that looks like. And when we plan the success plan, that's our roadmap. That's how we're going to support you throughout this journey with Kingdom Builders. And so going into our next facet, which is something more so that everyone knows us for, is My Brothers and Sisters Keeper. And that's where we support those survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. And one unique thing about us is they can be directly affected, so they personally experience that abuse, or indirectly affected. And that would look like I was a child that lived in a home that had abuse. We have an understanding that trauma has different ways of manifesting in everyone's lives. It is no cookie cutter effect to helping someone that has experienced trauma. Someone may have experienced trauma 20 years ago and they thought they were fine. And one day an incident happened, they're re-triggered and now they're stuck. Now they seem like they can't move forward. All of those emotions for 20 years ago is coming back, and we understand that. So that's why we don't really have a statutory limit of how long ago the abuse could have happened or how long ago you've experienced it. If you have experienced it, we're here to support. So with My Brothers and Sisters Keeper, we offer advocacy, case management services, counseling, life skills training. We have our 12-week family and employment readiness program. We have a 24/7 crisis hotline. We do emergency financial assistance, which I'm going to talk about some of that here soon, and then short-term housing assistance as well. So with those, as I was talking about, those initiatives that we have. So our 12-week family life and employment readiness program, we knew we wanted to create something where someone who might have experienced a victimization in their life needed time to pause before jumping back into the workforce. And that's why we created the employment program. It's for 12 weeks. So the first month is heavily focused on trauma. What does that look like? How did that manifest in my life? And how do I work through that, right? And then month 2 is work-life family balance. How do I balance myself, my family, and this crazy thing called life? So we're talking about budgeting, we're talking about managing your schedule, dealing with sibling rivalry, all of those different concepts is what we're talking about. We were grateful to be able to have Karen Share come in this session with our last class that's finishing up on Wednesday, and they did a healthy nutritionist cooking class twice a week. So we partner with the community to try to bring resources to the individuals that come to our program. And then month 3 is where we really focus on their employment piece. We're doing resume building, mock interviews, how do you handle office conflict, how do you write a professional email, is all the things we're talking about in month 3. And the amazing thing about this program is we meet with everyone from the time from 9 to 1. and we're able to pay them a monthly stipend. So at the end of each month, any individual that signs up for the program, if they're actively participating, they get $1,000 at the end of each month. So that is a program that we continue on a cycle. Right now, as I stated, we just finished our last class and we'll be starting up our next class in April. The class can seat 12 individuals in there. And the criteria, again, is if you've experienced some form of victimization from sexual assault, domestic violence, or human trafficking, and you're unemployed or underemployed. So underemployed, I'm only getting like less than part-time hours, right? Is individuals who's eligible to be in that program. We also are having the expansion of our Donna's Martin Memorial Housing Program. So we've been blessed to be able to offer transitional housing to up to 6 months of housing assistance and rapid rehousing, as well as rental assistance to avoid homelessness. So at this time, we're currently accepting individuals who's in need. Housing is a huge thing in our community right now, and paying for rent and things like that. We've been, again, blessed to be able to have the funds to be able to provide that to our community. So you come in as long as you're willing to work the program. And what working the program looks like is meeting with your advocate, building that success plan, and going over some educational domestic violence classes that everyone goes through. And as long as you're being compliant within the program, there is rental assistance that we can provide. It takes about a 2-week turnaround time for approval, but if someone is working that program, 90% of the time your rent is gonna get paid. We have therapeutic support for youth and young adults ages 7 to 23. So we've been able to get funding to where we can send those who's been affected with mental health and who's been diagnosed with mental health and behavioral issues and helping them with therapeutic support. So if they are in that age range and they identify that they're looking for therapy services and finances may be a hard thing right now, or I don't have my insurance set up, we can pay up to 20 sessions to support that individual. And then domestic violence weekly support groups is something else that we just started this year at our office. So we do have those support groups. They are led by our CEO and our founder, Ms. Lisa Jenkins, where she titles herself to be a thriver. So she is someone who experienced domestic violence many years ago. And so that was the whole purpose of Kingdom Builders. She wanted to create a safe place for individuals that was going through what she went through when she decided to leave with her children. And she wanted Kingdom Builders to have everything that was not offered to her or something that was offered. And she said, hey, this is an amazing concept. I needed it. And so we built Kingdom Builders up to the program that it is off of her vision. So we talked about a few of the programs already. It kind of repeats itself, but those are our flyers. Ms. Gabrielle, our office manager, has passed out several flyers and packets about more of who we are and what we do. But that's us. That's Kingdom Builders in a nutshell. I know I said that kind of fast, but if there's any questions, I can answer those right now. If you don't have any questions right now, you can always send us an email at info@kbflc.org. I monitor it 24/7, so I'll respond back to you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Rick?
Yes, question for Chief Christiani. Do we have their contact information available for when the police department has victims of domestic violence we can refer them to?
We do, yes. Actually, her and I have spoken at least twice before, so yes, when we have that, we offer it.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the great information.
Councilmember Hinton?
Yes. So the age range, there's no age range for my brother and sister's keeper, correct?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Estes?
Can you give us out loud the crisis number so that people can hear it?
So it's on YouTube. Come on down here and say it in the mic.
Sorry about that. So our crisis hotline is 719-464-4647.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Duncan?
I just want to thank you for coming and sharing. You can come back to the mic.
We'll let you know when you're free to go.
for sharing the information. I know that you're all through the community and helping out, and I just wanted the Fountain community to know that you're here, that if they need anything, and the crisis hotline is 719-464-4647.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming down tonight. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Do you have any extra packets you could leave with the clerk so that we can put them on our little kiosk we have downstairs?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
And then also, if you guys ever, we have little pocket brochures that we kind of give out to the community, like to
Okay.
put in the office and things like that. If you guys ever want that information,
Yeah.
just let me know, and I can bring like a lot. So-
Okay, yeah, we have a little downstairs, you might see it, this little twirly thing.
Okay.
And we put lots of information for the community there that can come by and just pick stuff up.
Okay, so could I just stop by and just bring it?
You have to leave it with the city clerk's office, and then they put it out. So,
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, our next presentation is from JustServe Volunteer Service Options, and that is Tamara Ferris. If you could come down.
There's actually two of us. I'm Tammy Ferris. I am the Pikes Peak Regional Coordinator for JustServe.org, and this is Erica Carter, and she is the Fountain Area Specialist for JustServe.org. You want to handle the joystick? Yeah. We hope our video is going to work. We had a little trouble with it today. We're going to introduce you to JustServe with this video, hopefully.
Open.
One of the things that we have a lot of questions from the community, from faith-based organizations, is how do we give back to the community? How can we get involved? The JustServe program has basically allowed us to give volunteers a direction.
It allows you to go in, find something that fits your personality, your family.
If I could sit down with another council member in another city that was either looking at this or had talked about it, I think what I would say to them and what I have said to them is that this is one of those types of programs that will, again, help your city to be a success.
I just love volunteering here because it kind of takes me out of myself and puts me into the community, and it just makes me feel like I'm making a difference.
There we go. Okay, what is JustServe? JustServe.org is a website. It's a free website where the needs of organizations are posted and volunteers search for opportunities to enhance the quality of life in our community. JustServe is currently active in 15 countries, with more getting ready to go online.
And with JustServe, what types of organizations can be part of it? As you can see up there, there's civic, nonprofit, academic, business, military, and faith-based, and a variety of others. So as we go through our presentation, if you can be thinking of ways that would fall in line with the City of Fountain, and things that could happen as far as employees being involved in getting active on JustServe, looking for opportunities, or finding the volunteers for some of the initiatives through the city. So there's a list of some of the ones that we work with, and in fact, we also have worked with Kingdom Builders, and then a bunch of other ones that you'll see as we go through our slideshow.
Some of the other ones you may recognize are Silver Key, Care and Share, Goodwill. We currently have 157 different organizations in the Pikes Peak region, which goes from Pueblo all the way up to Castle Rock and all the way over to Alamosa. We have 157 organizations with a landing page on JustServe. Who can volunteer on JustServe.org? Well, any community member who is at least 13 years old can register on JustServe and find volunteer opportunities in their area. Volunteers can serve as an individual, as a family, or as groups. We just recently had a call from the Olympic Training Center. They were doing an all-day training for their staff, and they wanted to involve service as part of that training. And they used JustServe.org, this is the second time, to find the volunteer opportunity for their all-day training.
So how it works, we've got the 4 bullet points on there. You know, we've kind of simplified it a bit, but so organizations can set up a landing page, which is representing your organization as a whole, and you represent it with images and descriptions that you want to be out there. You can put your vision and your mission on there, and organizations can post their volunteer needs as well. So those would fall under projects. So you can create different projects and your landing page stays, and then you add the projects underneath as far as what the needs are. You can have an expiration date on that, or you can have it as ongoing. The opportunities can be searched by the name of the organization, or they can be searched through like a keyword for the volunteer opportunities that are in the area. So if you're looking for food, put in food. If you're looking for something like that domestic violence, then that's what you would put in there. Community members can register and set up a profile to volunteer, so you can do it individually, not just as an organization.
If you go to JustServe.org, you'll find that you can search the opportunities on JustServe.org without registering. You can scroll through the list of opportunities for either donations or volunteers just by clicking and searching. You can look through it that way, or as Erica said, you can put in a keyword. But if you want to volunteer, you actually have to create a profile. Now, there's some concern when you go in and create a profile on a website that you're going to get emails. A lot of us don't like to have our emails crowded and clogged up. You don't get an email from JustServe.org unless you volunteer. So once you put in your profile, you won't hear from us unless you actually volunteer. This is a sample of an organization landing page. This happens to be one of our organizations, one of the 157. It's Girls on the Run of the Rockies. It tells here what they are. They're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it tells what their mission is, their vision and their mission. Once the landing page has been established, it also has the contact person on there for if you want to contact the organization. You have the website that you can click on and go to. You also have an email address that you can go to. That's all within the landing page. Then, after that, if the organization wants to post opportunities for volunteering with them or opportunities for donating, they can then create what we call a project. And let Erica.
So, so as an example, we've got Care and Share up there, and one of their projects that they had is food sorting and packing, which is what they do. The deadline on that is ongoing, so you can have an ongoing project. So if you're always needing volunteers for the same initiative or the same project that you're working on, you can leave it up there, or it'll be taken down as if you put an expiration date on there. So I'm the administrator for this area down here. So I would be managing that, and if you contact me and say, hey, take it down, or we're having trouble with it, then that's what I would be doing. And then it'll give you a general area on there. You can put a headline like the Help Us Feed Our Neighbors in Need, and then you can put the organization. So that's kind of a really good example of one.
Well, you've met two of the administrators. Who administers JustServe.org? There's a team of trained volunteers that maintain the website. We assist the organizations with posting opportunities and adding new organizations. An organization can appoint an administrator to manage their landing page and post opportunities. So they don't have to come and call us and get the opportunity posted on the website. We can train someone within the organization, like within the City of Fountain, to be the administrator for the City of Fountain and post different volunteer opportunities for different departments. Or we could actually have multiple administrators, one for each of the departments. Some of the cities that are on here will have an administrator for each of their departments. Some will just have an administrator for the entire city posting needs for volunteers or for donations.
Okay, so this could have been at the beginning, but it's at our end is the vision of JustServe. So, and I'll just read it verbatim. We may not solve the world's problems immediately, but we're convinced that by serving each other in our local communities, we're paving the way for much broader changes. Our individual efforts don't need to be huge. A little bit of change here, a few hours there, but even small efforts quickly add up to make a real difference. When you guys get the chance, tablets or phones or whatever, if you would pull up JustServe.org, and you can see how easy it is to get on there to kind of look around and everything, we invite you to do that. And please reach out if you have questions about it.
We also invite you to register. We would like everyone in the room to go to JustServe.org and register as a user. Again, if you do that, you're not going to get emails from us clogging up your email account. You're only going to be able to volunteer if, while scrolling through the opportunities or going in to look at the different organizations that have opportunities connected to their landing page, you will be able to volunteer. That's the only thing, that's the only precursor. Anybody can go to the website and look through the opportunities, but you need to register in order to be able to serve. And we encourage you to do that as an example to everyone else within the city organization or within your own families or your groups of friends. Thank you very much for having us here today. And are there any questions about this?
Thank you so much for coming in. I do have a real quick question. Background checks, are they done by JustServe or are they done by the organization that you're actually volunteering with?
They are done by the organization. When someone volunteers, they are either taken to the organization's website, where if it's necessary that they have a background check done, they'll have to fill out all the information to have that done. They can sometimes, a lot of the times, they'll just volunteer through JustServe.org if it's not necessary. So it can be done either way. They can sign up directly on JustServe.org, and then the organization will get the list of volunteers coming from our website, or they are redirected to the website for the organization, and then they can fill out the information that they need to have the background check done.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Duncan?
Oh, this is wonderful. So to have a hub of volunteers. Do you have to be a nonprofit to?
No.
Not at all?
No,
Okay.
civic organizations, we have academic organizations on there. You don't have to be a nonprofit. We cannot involve ourselves in any for-profit projects or opportunities, but as long as that's not happening, and we can't do anything that has anything to do with political advocacy, of course. So other than that, no.
Okay, and one more question. So I saw Parks and Rec on the first or second screen. So can you give me some examples of, with El Paso County Parks and Rec, what did you do for them?
Trail cleanup.
Okay.
Cleanup of parks. Most of the volunteer opportunities have been in helping to maintain the Parks and Rec, but there's been volunteers for some of the programs that they have for education too.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Hinton?
What are your biggest seasons where you see the most need for volunteer service? Is there a particular season, particular month, or time where we need volunteers to serve it on JustServe?
October through the end of December.
October through the end of December. So we're
Right now.
in that time.
Right now.
All right. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for coming down and sharing about this tonight. I appreciate it
Thank you
very
for having
much.
us.
All right. Oh, just leave it on the, yep. All right. Okay, that takes us to item 4.2, Board Commissions and Committee. Appoint of Stephen Foster and reappointment of Brian Johnson to the Personnel Grievance Board. Ms. You're not Ms. Huffman.
Nope. Mayor and council, we have currently have an opening on the Personnel Grievance Board. Fortunately, this isn't a board that we have to call upon very often, but when we do, we need to have members available to serve on that. The recommendation is for Steve Foster to be appointed tonight for a one-year term, and reappointment of Brian Johnson for a two-year term. And the difference in that 1 and 2 year term is to keep those members staggered so that their term limit is not the same date. So, and Mr. Foster is here available if you have any questions for him. He's available in the audience today. And I just wanted to say also, we're having some issues with the voting machine. So between me and IT, we're going to get this through this meeting.
All right.
So there might be a little stumbling along the way. But
Okay, just want to make it clear, in the recommendation, the motion, I am going to assume, has to say approve Mr. Steve Foster to the one-year term. It needs to be stated in the motion, whoever makes the motion, and then Mr. Johnson, if they choose to take the recommendation from up above.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Correct.
and one motion would be okay to do both of
One
those
motion would be
things.
correct.
Okay, great. Mr. Foster, did you want to come down and introduce yourself, because nobody knows you here? Come on down and thank you for applying for being on this
Put me
commission.
on the spot already, Mayor.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? I'm currently serving on the Heritage Maintenance District Board and have been for quite a few years, so try to get back to the community where we can.
Right. Recently retired, and you used to handling a lot of employees, so I assume personnel issues
Yes.
that goes along with that. Right.
Yeah, anywhere from 10 to 100 employees at a time, so
Right.
used to some of the conflicts that come with that.
Used to the drama.
Yes.
Okay, all righty. All right, so the recommendation is to appoint Steve Foster and reappoint Brian Johnson. Thank you for coming down. So what would council like to do with this? Councilmember Estes.
I move to appoint Mr. Steve Foster to a one-year term and Brian Johnson to a two-year term for the Grievance Board.
Councilmember Corey.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for Mr. Foster for a one-year term and Mr. Johnson for a two-year term. Okay, I'm going to assume it's going to work. Okay, please vote.
Seven yes, motion carried.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, that takes us on to item 5, correspondence, comments, and ex officio reports. And before I throw it over to Mr. Trainer, I'm going to take just a moment at the beginning, and I'm going to read a statement. I think it's important for our community to hear this, and I'm going to read this, and we're not going to be taking comments or discussing it, okay? Because we just got to be super careful, and I think you'll understand when you hear it. This was a statement that was read by Shana Marshall at the sentencing of Mr. Viejos, who was sentenced to 27 years for his involvement with the Officer Becerra case. This is what was read to the court, and I'm reading it into the city record. I am speaking on behalf of the Fountain Police Department to underscore the devastating consequences of habitual offenders on our community as exemplified by the tragic death of Officer Julian Becerra. Julian was not just a police officer, but he was a husband, father, and son. He was also a friend to many within the Fountain Police Department and was lovingly known as JB. Julian, a member of our law enforcement family, was an active and respected contributor to the community he served. His commitment to public safety and his excellent police record reflected not only his dedication to duty, but also his deep sense of responsibility to the citizens of Fountain. Unfortunately, his life was cut short during the pursuit of a habitual criminal, leaving behind a grieving wife and 2 children. The impact of Julian's death reaches far beyond the immediate loss suffered by his family and our department. It highlights the pervasive and destructive influence of habitual offenders on the safety and well-being of our community. Such individuals with a documented history of repeated criminal behavior pose a severe threat to the fabric of society. Habitual offenders contribute to a climate of fear and insecurity within our neighborhoods, eroding the trust that should exist between law enforcement and the community. Julian's tragic death is a stark reminder of the tangible risks officers face daily while confronting those who habitually engage in criminal activities. The Fountain Police Department has witnessed firsthand the toll that habitual offenders take on our resources, both in terms of personnel and financial commitment. The time and energy spent dealing with the aftermath of their actions divert attention and resources from proactive community engagement and crime prevention efforts. Moreover, the emotional toll on our officers is immeasurable. The loss of Julian has left a void within our department, one that cannot easily be filled. It emphasizes the need for comprehensive strategies to address habitual offenders and protect those who bravely serve our community. Although Mr. Vallejos was not charged directly with the cause of Julian's death that tragic night, his actions and the actions of those he was involved with set the chain of events into motion which resulted in Julian falling from that bridge. We have routinely seen in recent times how habitual offenders' criminal behavior continuously places community members and police officers' lives in danger. We are currently at a crossroads. The officers with the Fountain Police Department urge the court to consider the broader implications of Julian's death. It is not only a loss to his family and our department, but a poignant illustration of the urgent need to address habitual offenders and safeguard our community from the pervasive threat they pose. The court's decision will play a crucial role in determining the path forward in ensuring the safety and well-being of Fountain's residents and the officers within the Fountain Police Department. And I do thank the court for sentencing him to 27 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have one thing I want to briefly mention, and I know the results of the election haven't been certified yet. But the one thing, what's that? Okay, well, I haven't received word then from our city clerk's office, I have. But the one thing I know, regardless of the certification, is that we're going to be losing a really good council member, Richard, after having served 2 terms. I just can't tell you enough how much I've appreciated the opportunity to work with you. And I wasn't sure if tonight would be my last opportunity to do that or at the next meeting, but I want you to know how much we as a staff have appreciated that. I get the opportunity to meet with Richard usually the Monday before council meetings. We talk about whatever the council agenda is, and it's been really enjoyable. I also, the service that you also provide on the PPR, the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department committee there that you serve on, I mean, that's just been invaluable as well. So I just wanted to make sure I at least took my last opportunity to thank you and just let you know how much I appreciate the opportunity to work with you as one of our city council members. Thank you, sir.
Richard, I've never been as eloquent as Scott, and I won't try to be tonight. We appreciate you. We look forward to continue working with you on the roadway focus group. So we will get to see you frequently on road issues. But thank you for that. Just your style. It's that old school, straight to the point style, and it meshes very nicely with mine. And I have appreciated all these years. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything you've brought to the table, and how passionate you've been about trying to get those things that motivate you done in the city. So we appreciate you, and we're going to miss you, Richard. Thank you.
Nothing to add from me tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. Mr. Applegate as well, thank you for your continued support for the police department, as does all the council, but especially for you tonight, I thank you, sir, for your support. Couple of quick things. We have Thanksgiving holidays in full swing, so just reminders. Cars locked, houses locked, packages brought in, and obey the speed limits because we have our traffic officers out there every weekend doing special enforcement. So we're doing a lot of no tolerance type situations. So if everybody can behave themselves and drive the speed limit, that would be much appreciated. And that's all I had tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Commander Lewis?
No, ma'am, I have nothing.
Okay. John?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. First, yes, best of luck to you, Councilmember Applegate. Thank you very much for your service to your community. The other thing I wanted to mention tonight is that we will be in the next week or so putting up a link at the top of the website regarding the Indiana Road Project, so that citizens can kind of follow along with the progress of that project, as well as some additional information on that page just about the Moving Fountain Forward initiative and the kind of the history about that. So I just wanted to kind of call that out and look for that on the website in the next week or so. That's all I have.
Okay. City Clerk?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. IT?
Nothing tonight, ma'am.
Okay. All righty. Councilmember Duncan?
I want to say also thank you to Richard for his dedicated service to our community. 8 years is a good time, and again, we appreciate all of your hard work that you do. We know that this is not a paper. This is our community service to our community, right? And you've done a lot. You've served on boards, and you've been here, and you've been sitting here next to me, and any question I have, you ask, you answer. And I'm going to miss you sitting next to me, so I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I want to say I also attended the apprenticeship week. They had apprenticeship opportunities for electricians, and this program is for 18-year-old high school students or above. Veterans are even welcome into this program. You know, everyone that graduates from high school does not want to go to college. So this is a great program. There's a $22 application fee and it can be waived. But if you want to apply for the apprenticeship opportunities and to know more about them, you can apply at 414 West Pikes Peak Avenue in Colorado Springs, or you can call 719-473-1781. And they have a lot of, they took us through the classrooms and showed us how they trained the electricians. They had plumbers. They have all types of jobs that you can have straight out of high school. You get this apprenticeship, you go through the program, you complete it, and you have a job that you can support yourself and your family. So this is a great opportunity. I also do want to thank the voters. Before we came in, Scott, they posted the final results for the coordinated election, and I do want to thank the voters for their support of me and our other Councilmember Estes. And we do have another member that will be joining us, Jen. So thank you, voters, again for voting. We know that this has been a trying time for our voters. We had another ballot initiative that the voters said no, and we respect the voters for that. So we do appreciate your vote. I also want to say thank you to our first responders who worked during our Thanksgiving holidays. We know that we're at home, we're with family, and we're with friends, and you're out there and you're working, and I hear the sirens going, and just want to thank you for that, because it's pretty tough to be missing family. We don't know what you're going through, and you're out there on the roads protecting us, so I do want to say thank you for that. Also, the last thing that the governor signed 7 bills, this last special section that we saw on the news. He signed a property tax relief bill that increases Tabor funds, and the average savings on property taxes is $200. The Tabor refunds of $800 for those earning less than $140K a year. So to be clear about this, your property tax bill won't be lower than it was. The relief law makes passed would limit the increase by the higher property values. So if that makes sense. So there's a lot to do with that. The bill is House Bill 23B1001. Is that the one? That's the Emergency Rental Assistance Grant Program. And this bill creates the Emergency Rental Assistance Grant Program in the Division of Housing to provide grants to residential tenants who are having an annual household income of less than 80% or less. And I'm bringing this to the attention because over the holidays, we did have a lot of people reaching out saying, I don't have money for rent, I don't have money for groceries. And it was overwhelming, and it was so heartfelt how our community came together for those people asking and saying that I was in need. It just shows the love that we have for one another, and we still have that. We haven't lost the caring that we have. We know that some people are less fortunate and don't have the funds, and our community really came together over this past holiday. I don't think I know of anyone that went without a meal. It was very heartwarming, and that's all that I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Applegate.
Yeah, as I'm wrapping up here, I went to my last meeting with the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department on the advisory board, and I wanted you to be sure and remember that you have to support somebody at your next meeting because their meetings are third Wednesday at 12:30. so you'll have to get somebody for that. And the ESA, the emergency service, they closed out. I went to their dinner, and I asked how Colorado, or how Fountain stood in there, and we get half of everything that's left over, and she estimated to me it would be close to $17,000, so that'll be coming a few months, as soon as they vote on it and everything. All right,
Right.
that's all.
Yeah, I reached out to Regional Building and got all the information and gave it to Sylvia for when the board meets and everything, and found out they don't have a December meeting. So we're good. Regional Building Advisory Committee does not have a December meeting. So we're good on somebody appointing at our meeting. So, yeah, and we'll get that done, yes. All right, Councilmember Estes.
Okay, a couple things. The Fountain Valley Senior Center will be having their craft and bakery sale on December 16th from 9 to 3, and that is at the Widefield District 3 Recreation Center. Please come out and support that. And then also, we have the Miracle on Main event being put on by Fountain Up, and that will be December 9th from 9 to noon, right here in this room. So thank you for the Fountain Up gals that are sponsoring that for all the kiddos to come and buy presents for their families. So that's it.
Councilmember Hinton?
I also want to thank Richard for his service, and I appreciate him and all his this knowledge that he's able to pour upon the council, and especially myself. I appreciate your service, Councilman Applegate, and thank you for everything that you've done, not only for this city, but for everybody that you've met here in the city. It's important to serve and give back service, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember Corey?
Yeah, it's a bittersweet meeting for me tonight, so thanks for being here, Dad. Got to live the dream for 2 years. I mean, I got to sit here next to near my father for these meetings and all these different council retreats and all these different events and everything through the years, so it's gonna be different now without looking over there and seeing you over there, so, but, yeah.
Councilmember Rick?
Councilmember Applegate, thank you for your honest, straightforward opinion, your business-like attitude. I do appreciate you being straightforward with not only with me, but with the public and with the rest of the council members, so thank you. Reminder, tomorrow, I believe, is it, Scott, 3 o'clock tomorrow is the arena open house, or is it?
Double check, I think it's 4. Nope, you're right, 3 o'clock. Yeah, 3 to 5.
3 to 5 tomorrow is the arena open house for those who want to come see it. And
Okay.
that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
I got 3:30, so. Okay, something there. All right, Richard, we're going to officially roast you and send you out of here on December 5th as part of the swearing in of the new people. So we'll have your plaque and everything for you on that night, so please show up and have some treats with us and kind of get roasted by everybody, and we'll be nice. We'll be nice. Yeah. So, so December 5th at 5 is the swearing in of the re-swearing in, I guess you call it re-swearing in, and swearing in and farewell. And so we hope that you'll join us that night. So, all right. Okay, great. All right, that takes us on to the consent agenda. I'm sorry. Public to be heard. Citizens may address the council on items that are not on the agenda. Council may not be able to provide an immediate answer, but will direct staff to follow up. Out of respect for councils and others in attendance, please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. I want to remind everybody the reason we're still at 3 minutes is because that is an ordinance that we'll be voting on a little bit later in the meeting to change it to the 5 minutes, and so that's not in effect until 5 days after that ordinance is published, which should be in plenty of time for the next council meeting. So, all righty, I do only have one card tonight, and it is from Mr. Sam Fortune, and the item of discussion is city codes and enforcement. I'm going to throw it over to our city attorney, please.
No, this is going to be directed for you guys. I've already been through him already.
Okay, well, if you have a pending case within,
No, that case is dismissed.
okay, that's why I was being careful,
That one's already
because
dismissed.
I
No,
want to make sure you don't have any pending cases or any
No,
legal
I've got another
litigation
pending case.
going
That's
on.
tomorrow morning, but that doesn't involve him. But it does involve your code enforcement. Real quick, how many of you guys up here on the board? Oh, by the way, Sam Fortune, Darnell Drive, the house that normally does all the crazy lights every year, not doing it this year. because of this. I don't need another ticket. How many of you guys have trailers at home?
I'm sorry, I don't
How many of you
understand.
guys have trailers at home? You know, camping trailer?
Okay.
Like that?
An RV.
RV or
vehicle.
barbecue grills? Anybody have a barbecue grill? Okay, propane tank? Propane tank? No. Charcoal, okay. Propane? Okay, you store it outside? City manager, you need to do your job. That's against city code. The reason I brought this point up is last few years, my wife owns Biggie's Little Bavaria food truck. We've had no problems up until this year getting a food license here in Fountain. This year has been nothing short of a nightmare. I have a mountain of paperwork that I've had to go through. I've spent more money on lawyers this last 2 months than I have on my wife in 10 years, if that gives you any indication. But the city is coming up with all these things that are forcing small businesses through via code out of this city. Do y'all know there's over 300 food trucks in El Paso County? Do y'all know how many of them are registered here in Fountain? About less than 12. You guys know why? Your code enforcement. Your code enforcement harasses the food truck owners. They come up to the properties and they cite them for everything they can think of. My wife was cited for conducting a home-based business on our property because we had the rig plugged into power behind a 6-foot privacy fence. I'm not exactly sure how that is considered home-based business. Not sure how a food truck falls into a home-based business, especially when the El Paso County and the state have both ruled with for a food truck, if they're a mobile kitchen, self-contained, they're not home-based. A home-based is a cottage kitchen. You'd be putting every food truck around here out of business. But the thing is, you guys need to review your codes. You need to see if they're up to date. Right now, your codes are ridiculous. Propane tanks, you can't store those outside, according to code. And I know if the fire chief was here, he'd be agreeing with me. That's ridiculous, which I'm sure all of you can agree on is ridiculous in itself. Or I have a ranch out east. I have a trailer that was set up for water tanks. I had to completely take that thing apart because the code enforcement says that's not allowed to be done. The trailer has to be empty. I think it's time you guys sat down and reviewed your own stuff. I can't get a straight answer from anyone else, so hopefully you guys can fix what's broken around here. 3 minutes is up.
Thank you. All right, I don't have any other cards from anybody for public to be heard. Okay.
Just so you guys know, there's 4 food trucks right now that are going to be run out of this town by the end of the year. One of them is about 50 yards from here.
Thank you. All right, that takes us on to our consent agenda. All items listed under consent agenda are considered routine and will be approved with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which case the item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately at the discretion of council. What would council like to do with the consent agenda? Councilmember Duncan?
I move to approve.
Councilmember Hinton?
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Please vote.
Seven yes, motion carried.
Okay, that takes us on to item 8A, old business, second reading of ordinance number 1795, an ordinance amending section 2.02.140 of the Fountain Municipal Code regarding the manner in which to address council. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I think like the Mayor stated earlier, this is the second reading for the amendment to the City Code, changing the public to be heard time from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. There's been no additions or changes since last reading, and I'm here for any questions.
Okay, so we have the second reading of ordinance 1795, and what would council like to do with this? Councilmember Applegate.
I move to approve ordinance 1795 on second reading.
Councilmember Duncan.
I second.
We have a motion and a second for ordinance number 1795. Is there any further deliberation? Seeing none, please vote.
7 yes, motion carried.
Okay, that takes us on to item 9, new business. A, consideration of items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Item B, Resolution 23-057, a resolution to approve mutual termination of a second amended and restated intergovernment agreement regarding the El Paso County Emergency Services Authority by and between El Paso County, Colorado, and the City of Fountain, Colorado. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening again. Council member Applegate mentioned this a little bit earlier, but this has been something that's been in the works for probably years. The ESA that was created by agreement between the City of Fountain and El Paso County, really, and Mr. Applegate, you can probably speak more intelligently than I can about the ESA itself, but I think the time has come for this organization to dissolve. That was the recommendation from the board to both our city council and to the Board of County Commissioners. And in order to formally do that, they need a resolution from the council. And so that's what I present to you all tonight. And Mr. Applegate, if there's anything to add, I'll give you the floor as the City of Fountain's representative on that board.
Just the ESA was pretty good because it monitored the time period for ambulances to reach their destination in different areas of the county. And that's what we mostly worked on and everything, so that we could try to cut that time down and make it more efficient. But now Fountain's going to do their own thing. We always did anyhow, so.
Yeah, and then the one kind of remaining fact is there was a lot of work that the ESA did on getting grant funding, and so the fund balance for that organization, I think, like the mayor mentioned, or Mr. Applegate mentioned, that'll be split between us and the county. That I think that's inaccurate, like about $17,000. So, with that, I'll leave it for any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Johnson? Councilmember Duncan, do you have a question?
Yes, so the 17,000, where would that go in our budget?
It would go back into the general fund. It was grant funding, and so I would have to look at maybe the specifics of how that was awarded to know if it had any strings tied to it. But I imagine it should be or would be slated for emergency services for the fire department.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rick?
Yes, you are correct. In the past, when we've gotten money, it's gone to emergency services, SCBA's, ambulance equipment, that sort of stuff is what we've used it for in the past. So, thank you.
Councilmember Corey?
I have a question. This might be directed more at Chief. Do we have numbers for our ambulances when we run them out? Does each station kind of keep tabs on how long it takes for the response times?
We do? Okay.
Okay.
I would have given you an answer, but I don't have one.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. Okay, any further questions on this item in front of us? Okay, are there any questions from anyone in the audience? Okay, seeing none, what would council like to do with this? Councilmember Duncan. Let's go with Councilmember Applegate, since it's his last meeting and he served on the board. Okay. Councilmember Applegate.
All right, I move to approve Resolution 23-057.
Councilmember Duncan.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of Resolution 23-057. Any further deliberation from council? Seeing none, please vote.
Seven yes, motion carried.
Okay, that takes us on to item 10, City Council Agenda Request. Mr. Applegate, do you have an agenda request?
Yes, I do.
You
I
do.
would urge the council to go back and revisit joining PPRTA. Our last meeting kind of showed that some people had a little bit of election remorse, and I think they're thinking it over now about their situation, and it'd be good for us to do that. I don't care if it takes 2 or 3 years. We just got to keep bringing back. We'll get it.
How many years do they want to give away $2 million? Okay. Councilmember Rick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At last meeting, I asked for a discussion on PPRTA. I believe we scheduled it for the second meeting in December. Looking at our agendas going forward, it's a little crowded. I would request that be moved to the second meeting in January.
Okay.
And the other thing I have for staff, if you could have somebody send me the ordinance on home-based businesses, email it to me so I could review it, I'd appreciate that.
Okay, and I think you just, your motion was more for not just PPRTA, but just kind of like funding in general.
Yes, what are we going to do about that?
Roadway funding. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I got it correct. Okay, Councilmember Corey.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Councilmember Hinton.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Councilmember Estes.
Nothing this evening?
Councilmember Duncan.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Councilmember Applegate, last chance. I'm giving you second chance, second bite at the apple. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay, couldn't resist. Okay, last meeting. All right. Okay, all righty. All right, do we have an executive session tonight?
Just for Richard.
Just for Richard, yeah. I think we
None
need a
to my knowledge.
special one
Thank
for
you very
Richard.
much.
Oh, doggone it. Okay. All righty, with that, I'm going to pass the gavel to Mr. Applegate. And Mr. Applegate, would you please end the meeting? Meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned?